Hello and welcome to the Pipnotic Symposium for the 20th of February 2017. We just moved to a new house, and now we're living kind of in the countryside northwest of the town Ubud. And it's beautiful. I'm sitting here now looking out the window of like the first floor of the house and just looking over the rice paddies. It's amazing. And beyond that there are a couple of houses, and then you can just see thick jungle, and in the background you can see the volcano. It's just a tremendous place. It's so lush. It's absolutely staggering. So food for thought. Living in freezing cold Scandinavia, you think it really puts things into perspective when you come to a place like this, where you can see how people live very differently and are at least as happy as we are in our part of the world. So it's very interesting indeed. Okay, well I'm still doing these recordings because I'm still a little bit uncertain of the internet, but I can see that here, internet is pretty good. And on the 22nd I'm doing an hour-long webinar for FX Street in Barcelona, and so I'm expecting the internet to be pretty solid. So right, we'll give it we'll get going. If we have a quick look at the strength information, I've received a few comments regarding the strength information, and some people are using the graphical version of the indicator, so the GFX version, and that's great, but the beauty of the TXT version is that you're seeing a much wider, a broader range of information, so you're making much better trading decisions. The GFX version, you're seeing, for example, one time frame and one look back, and so while this can be very interesting if you're looking to buy or to sell, when price typically pulls back to your level, you'll notice that the currency strength lines cross, which is against your trade. So when you use the TXT version, then you're making better decisions, because you can see the monthly information and the weekly and the daily and the 4 hour without having to click through all the charts. So this just enables you to make much better trading decisions. And you can see here, for the time being, the Australian dollar longer term is still looking pretty strong, and things look pretty scattered otherwise. And this is looking at the monthly and the weekly. And if we have a quick look at my settings, I'm using the position mode, because this gives me the more information. Periods to show is 6, so we're showing 6 periods here. The look back is set to 8, and enable look back average is set to false. And if you set this to true, this will just show you a simple moving average of the strength information, so it'll just smooth out the readings here. But I leave this to false because I like to have nice bleeding edge strength information. But this is what my settings are looking like, and I'll just have a glance here, and I'll just look at I'll pair like the strongest two and the weakest two, and I'll trade those, and I'll simply trade those at areas of supply and demand. So if we have a quick look here, you can see on the Aussie, if we look at the Aussie American dollar longer term, you can see that this pair should be moving higher. If we just drag this one over, you can see, go to the weekly, you can see that we're racing north in a real hurry. Currently we formed a really nice base, which is a reaction to this down here. It's been tested 2 times, once, twice. You see the little check mark. It tells us that these areas are still untainted, they're still valid, and price left, and we've had a really strong move higher here. Now we're approaching the top. So currently we're trading in a range, the range being something like this. And so we have the upper bound here, we have the lower bound here, and so ultimately when we're trading a range bound market, we want to be selling at the highs and buying at the lows. If we have a look at the trend line here, we have an upward sloping trend line which is broken, and the area that caused the break is this little one here. This one caused the candles to move above and beyond. We have another one just below here, but it's a little bit cluttered, but this is where the breakaway happened, and so this is kind of the bottom of the area, and this is the top up here, more towards the top. But just keep in mind that we are, technically speaking, still in a downtrend. We had a trend line break, but until we have higher lows and higher highs, we can't draw a trend line. And so you can see that when price moves above this high, then we can actually do our upward sloping trend line because this one is slightly higher than this one. But we can draw a downward sloping trend line, another one, so another trend line break, which looks like this. And this one has also been broken. The area that did it is down here. So if we have a quick look at the daily chart, you can see that the area, let me redraw this so it's nice and clear. The area that actually caused that is this one here. And this is actually an area that I really like. Matter of fact, I'm just going to log on to my account. Just going to put that trade in while I've got you in here. You can see interest rate swaps. We should be buying this pair. We'll give the indicator, the software, a minute to download the strength information so we can get these new values. You can see that the Australian dollar is still looking pretty strong. Just has to churn these numbers for a minute, and the American dollar not so, less so at least. And so we have this one here, which is a really nice area. This one has been taken out by this down here. So price rallied, accumulated, then we shot up north, and so we have a pretty good reading in here. So I'm just going to draw in an area just here. So we'll go from the low to here, then we're going to zoom in and have a closer look at the area. Matter of fact, we could probably draw that up to here. So we'll just take this bar like that. You see price dipped into it on the edge, so we'll probably have a continuation pattern on the 4 hour. And you can see how price kind of formed this base. We rallied, accumulated for a while, and then rallied higher. So we actually have a couple of nested areas in here. As you can see, I mean, price left the area pretty quickly here. So ideally, the area that is interesting to us, if we go back to the daily, might even be this area just here, which is located just at the edge. And this is the one that actually caused the break, as you can see here. So if we remove this one and we simply put a trend line at the high of this candle and the low of the low there. So this is the range, and this is the one that caused the break. But you can see when price left, it came back. I use this one. It came back to this area here. So this went into this accumulation candle, so you actually could move the high to the low of that candle, and then this would enable you to gape over that, like so. So if we have a look on the 4 hour, see what that looks like. You can see that, yeah, I mean, that looks alright, looks better on the daily. This is the daily level, so we'll trade it like that, and then we'll just have a quick look, and I think that looks a little bit more interesting. Then you can see that when this one left, we didn't really manage to close above it. This one didn't, and then this one did, and so ideally we'll probably get a reaction here, which is at the top. If we have a quick look at the 4 hour, you can see that it is just at the edge, just here. So we could go for a 4 hour entry, the low here, like that. So the 73.80, that might also be an interesting area, but I'm just going to trade this area as a daily area because I like those better. So I'm going to put it on like that, and I'm actually just going to be Mr. Conservative like I like to do and just put it like that. So I'm just going to put my 0.25%, looks good. I'm just going to put this one in. If we consider, for example, the way price left, we formed the low on the weekly, price rallied, accumulated, and then it had a bit of a tough time getting going, and then it finally accumulated, and then we cut off very nicely there. So a pretty nice release. Price has not been back, but when price did come back, you can see these wicks, they went as low as the 7334, and so I don't want to pay a price any more expensive than the 7334-ish area. We have a look at the curve, how far we are down. And we are deeper than the 62, which is good, and so we're pretty far down. So I am going to, actually I'm just going to put an alarm there, and I'm going to wait for price to come back down there and tell me what it's going to do. So we're looking at that. That's a pretty interesting area. I don't want price to come there and sit on there for a little bit. I mean, on the hourly, price can come down and move through it and do different things, so there's plenty of time to take the trade. There's no stress involved there. So now that's on there. So what else do we have? Well, you can see, generally speaking, the Aussie's looking pretty strong. The Kiwi's looking a little bit weak. So if we have a look at the Aussie Kiwi, this should be moving higher a little bit. Let me enable these. Right, so you can see that price is moving up pretty quickly, and then if we have a look here, you can see that price. Okay, sorry about that little visit from my youngest. Okay, so if we have a look, you can see that as a strength information, it tells us that the Aussie is picking up very strongly in comparison to the Kiwi. If you have a quick look, you see Aussie, Kiwi, and this is the smaller time frame, half an hour. You can see here as well, as far up as the daily, you can see that these pairs are really diverging. So back and have a look, you can see that we go to the daily, you can see that we can actually draw an upward sloping trend line, which I've done here. We have this area here that is still intact, as is this one. This is where the muscle originated from, and we're racing higher in a real hurry. So if we have a gander, I'd like to do sometimes I like to go like that, so I can't see any of the bars, and I can just see the extended range in the accumulation. You can see that we had a lot of kind of, I suppose you can call this efficient supply and demand here, and then we had inefficient trading, price cut through. We have these big long range candles that are moving very far away from these areas of accumulation, and this tells us that we have inefficient trading. So price is currently at disparity, parity being down here towards this base, and I like this one just here. If we have a look at it, you can see that we have a very big wick, which is telling us to go into a smaller time frame. So if you go to the 4-hour chart, have a closer look, you can see that we have still a very big pin bar. It's going to mark off the low of this one. We'll go to the 1 hour. It's going to keep going down until we find something that makes sense. We have that one there. That looks good. We go to the half an hour. Okay, you can see it just here in the half an hour how price kind of went down and we rejected. So price really didn't want to stay at that area. So there's a very strong imbalance in supply and demand there. And price is reacting on these highs here, which on the bigger time frame, if we look, you can see that. Where are we? Yeah, you can see that this is actually just reacting at the highs. Sorry, at the highs of the bodies of this period of accumulation. So price stabbed into this. We actually went down to this one roughly, and then we went north in a real hurry. If we have a look at the bigger time frame, see what's going on, you can see actually that we have this really nice area of weekly demand, which price didn't come down to. So we reacted just above the wick. So there must be something going on in this candle here. Perhaps compressed demand in here on a small time frame micro, and that was strong enough to keep price moving higher. So price is racing north. So if we go back to the smaller time frames, I think we found this on the 1 hour. We go to the 1 hour, have a look. You can see that we're 30 minute. There we are. You can see this is what we have. So we actually have the area that's interesting for us here. Starts at the high and goes down to the low. So it's a pretty small area. We refresh and see what we have. Go to the 4 hour so we can get a size. We actually have 24 pips. So I mean that's a pretty big position. And due to the fact that price really came down quickly, came pretty close to this area here, I would probably feel more comfortable taking this trade down here, because this one is the parent. This just looks pretty much like a child we're reacting down here. So this is a child, the parent being down here. So I would probably wait for this one here, the 0358 area. There's another decent area. So I'm going to put a line in here. That's pretty cool looking there. And then we have this smaller area in here, so we could put an alarm in here and see what happens. This is also pretty close to the big figure. It's going to put an alarm there. Good. Yeah, so that's what we have on that. So what else do we have? Well, we have a longer time frame. We have, for example, in the yen, it's been taking a beating as of late. We have the pound, which is, there's still a lot of uncertainty regarding the pound. So if we take the pound Aussie, if we can find that. And you can hear my boys going mad downstairs. Apologise for the racket. Sorry, I'm going to grab another one here. Pound Aussie. So you can see that, okay, on the, we have this really nice pattern just here. Okay, so we have, what do we have? We have an upward sloping trend line here. This is a clear one, so we have a low, high, low, high. Price is still moving north. There, and then price cut through. And the area that caused the break is something in here. You can see we tested just there. So if we have a, matter of fact, let me have a look at this. Yeah. Okay, so that's been broken, and you can see that the high of here reacted on something in there. You go to the weekly, see what it is. Yeah, there it is. You can see this is the accumulation when price left. This is the area that caused the break. Price left. This is the first time back, and it came back up into the wick. So there's micro supply up there. Let's have a look at that. Which is just in here. You still can't see it there. Let's mark off these highs so we can find it. Yeah, we're reacting just here at this little bit here, so that's fine. Back to the bigger time frames. So you can see that price is moving lower. We have this really nice pattern that's been formed. So I really like this one here. This is just one of those really nice patterns that I really like. This is still untested, and this is at the 2.006, so it's very far away, but price hasn't been back there. We still have some other areas. Price managed to move up here, so we're kind of digging a little bit deeper into this price imbalance. Price is still at disparity. We have to return to here to balance this, and we have to return to here to balance this. So we have something going on up here. Let's just mark this one off. I mean, this is where it all went. This candle closed below these lows on this area of accumulation. If we go to the daily, we can probably find where it's located. Yeah, and you can see right there how price came down. Wait, where are we? Yes, so price came down, tested the area, and then it left. And so we're still, wait a minute, I think I'm getting confused. Okay, up here, all the way up here, sorry, kind of confusing myself. Okay, here it is. So this is the area how price tested, and then it managed to cut through. So we have this head just here. So on the small time frame, you can see that the break actually happened here on the 4-hour chart. So this is the daily chart, I apologize. And so this is the area that still looks pretty interesting, and this one is still fresh and untested. This one has a lot of trading in the past at the area, so I wouldn't be very comfortable about trading that. But what I do like is I do like that price tested the lows and accumulated, and then we gapped down just here. So I'm going to give this a shot. I'll leave it at a 1-to-1 because I'm not always on the computer down here, but we'll see. I think if price manages to get a little bit deeper than that, then maybe we'll get some kind of reaction and a potential move lower. Yes, that looks pretty good, I think. Again, trading in line with some of the strength information. We can see how the pound is pretty weak. Longer term, the Australian dollar is strong, which is going to drive this pair inevitably lower for the time being. But again, we have to keep our eyes on the fundamentals. And once you get in the trade, if you get in the trade, you've got to make sure that the fundamentals are supporting the trade. Good. Yeah, so that's what we have there. I was actually looking at some really smaller time trades this morning. I took a long here. I was expecting it to go up here, at least up to here, but it didn't, so I got out at just over break even here. Then price came back down into this area, and it doesn't look like it's going to do a whole lot. But what I do like is we have this area. This is shorter term, of course, from here to here. Yeah, this 0.6050 area, it's 16 pip stop, like super small. I think that's at a 1% risk. I'm going to make sure I get those numbers right, otherwise I 0.25%. Don't fancy trading 10 lots, 11 lots. Good. So we have that area there. Price left, accumulated, we left. And now we're reacting at this area here, and we've eaten almost through it. And so I think this would be pretty interesting. And also we're trading in line with the swaps. Everything's pointing down. We still have to balance down here. And you can see that down here we had the trend line break. This is all again shorter term. This broke the trend line. The area that did it is, I mean, the parent is all the way down here, which is a reaction on the 4 hour. So something down here might happen. Something down here mightn't happen. If we go to the bigger time frames and have a bit of a closer look, we have, okay, so we have, I don't know where I came from, got interrupted there. We had these lows here. Price came down, accumulated, and then gapped down, and this is where price reacted on the way down. You can see just here. Very nice. We almost made it back here on this daily chart. Not quite, so we reacted on a child in here, some kind of a micro supply just up here. Reacting on this 4 hour, price is moving higher, but you can see we have this pretty interesting area. Let me remove all these. All these areas, we need that one on there. Have all these areas here. And you can see down here that we have a purple line, and this is the edge, this is the low of this monthly demand. So this is actually micro demand here at the bottom, probably a weekly or a daily, a nice weekly or daily area. We're reacting there. We're having a bit of a move lower, sorry, a move higher off that area. So just keep that in mind that we don't want to be selling just yet until we get up into here. And we have a few areas up here we could consider. We have a downward sloping trend line here on the weekly from this high to this high. So if we manage to kind of flush with the trend line just up here, that would be quite nice. Swaps are moving lower, telling us to short. You can see that we have stuff going on in here, and this is a bit of a difficult one because of all this this big pin bar. So we'll probably have to go to a really small time frame to find out what's going on in there. And we'll have a quick look. There, we'll see it. Sorry, here we have it. This is the spike. Sharp move higher, sharp move lower. So we can see that if we enable a few more of these candles, let's say we'll put 2000, see if we can get there. So you can see just up here we have the accumulation and the release. So we want to go from that up to there. This is where the trend line is also attached, somewhere on there. Yeah, right, like that. We go to the daily, we can have another look. This is where it is. So this is the accumulation at the top, where we got the reaction, rally, sell off, huge pin bar. This tells us to look on the small time frames, and so I think for this one here, the 112.30 would be a nice place to get rid of this. Alternatively, we could have another go at the lows here. But for the time being, we want to be selling these really nice retracements, these moves higher, these rallies higher, because this is where price is going. We have this high as well here, which is still a daily, and a 4 hour, which are currently untested. So from here to here, roughly at the 0814. But for the time being, we certainly want to be selling this and keep it moving lower. And you can see how we got some rejections here close to the lows here. We're actually reacting on this accumulation just here. Then price is slowly eating through this, which will bring our area to sell at here if we want to get in there at the 0643. So when this one goes, it'll be gone, and then the next area to take profits will be down in here somewhere. But I'm going to leave this for all this stuff for the time being, and I think I'll wrap this up, keep it short. I got screaming kids downstairs, so I throw them in the rice paddies and put them to work. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions about any of these trays, or you have a pair that you want me to have a look at, I'll be sure to do so. Actually, before I finished, I promised a friend of mine to have a look at the gold, and I'll do that very quickly. Okay, let's have a look at the gold. So gold, what's going on? On the bigger time frames, we look like this, and we can see that price. Where can we put a trend line? We actually had kind of like a trend line break just here on the monthly. Not too terribly clear, but maybe something like this. Broken, which is broken, which looks good. So price broke, we came down to this area here, reacted. Now we're slowly drifting higher, so we're reacting on this little micro demand just here, which is at the base of this really strong move. But the real area is down here in this bar. You've got the check mark, so that this monthly area is still unchallenged. If we have a look on the weekly, you can see that it's got to download this data here. You can see that we have this pretty nice pattern where we have this area of accumulation, price sold, we tested the area, and then we sold off, we took out this. So if we just mark this off, so we had from here to here, this has been taken out by what? By this. Something like that. We go to the small time frame and see what's in there. You can see that it's pretty ugly, so we have to go to a small time frame once more. See if we can drill down there and find out what caused that. Oh, now it's starting to show us. You can see we get there, and probably on the 1 hour we're going to get a nice clear look at it. There it is. That's nice. Now you can see accumulation. This one closed pretty much below it, so we can actually put it like that. We'll just make sure that we stay on the, see what time frame it is. So this is an hourly area up here, which is good, and this one's actually reacting on this one here, and this one is reacting on this one here. So we have a lot of children just around this area. So if we mark off the high here, this is reacting on this one, so we might even come up and test this one here, which you've done once. So I think the better trade would be to move up here like that at the 1342. Stops are well above this high because we have a lot of parent-child stuff going on there. But we want to be selling this, of course, because the swap, the interest rate swaps are going to be beneficial for shorting. And longer term, you can see that price is currently broken this. We're in a downward sloping trend. We're in a downtrend, and price is just taking a bit of a breather. If we look at the longer term trend lines, you can see from here to here that we've kind of flushing nicely with that. So if price comes back up into this area here, I think it'll be a qualified really nice short. And there's no real demand down here until we get to around this area just here. So this is something that we might be able to hold longer term if we get a decent entry. But if we look at this super long term, remove all this stuff, good, you can see that ideally something up in this. So we could take from here to here like that. Maybe at a price around there, so at the 1338-ish area might be a decent area to have a look for a sell. This is gone. There's still a little bit of space from here down to here, so, and this would of course be a logical place to take profit or reduce risk. But as I mentioned, you can see we don't really have any real demand until down here, which has been tested once. So maybe another test down there at the 710 area would be maybe pretty interesting. But these days the dollar is pretty volatile because of Mr. Trump. He seems to be sending it all over the place, and also there's interest rate hikes that are anticipated again this year, at least one more time. So that will attract flows out of the US dollar and drive this lower. So anyway, something to consider. I hope that was okay. To Kuji, a bit of a quick analysis. If you have any questions, send them in. And until next time, have a super week. Thanks for watching.